So, thinking about a career where you're diving into demographics.
That was pretty interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got all this info from RoleCatcher. They're all about careers. Want to deep dive and see if it's for you.
Absolutely. Let's unpack what these demographers actually do.
They're fascinated by the dynamics of human populations, RoleCatcher says.
Yeah, way more interesting than just, crunching numbers, right? It's like uncovering the stories in the data.
Oh, I like that.
Why are people moving from, rural areas to cities? How is the aging population changing how we design things?
That's what's so cool. It's not just theory, it's our world.
Exactly. Big questions, real impact.
Okay, so RoleCatcher gave us the specifics on what they do, not just math whizzes, huh?
Math and stats are important for sure, but
gotta have that base.
you need critical thinking, communication. RoleCatcher emphasizes that a lot.
Really?
Oh, yeah. A demographer might analyze why, say, birth rates are declining somewhere, but then they've got to explain that clearly to policymakers, people who can actually change things.
So it's like detective and storyteller. Data to solve mysteries, then tell everyone.
Exactly. And like a good detective, detail-oriented, super important. Imagine missing a detail in a huge data set.
No.
Throws everything off right.
Yeah.
Could mean wrong conclusions, bad policies, all because of one tiny thing.
No pressure. But the work sounds varied, at least. RoleCatcher mentioned specializing.
Oh, absolutely. Migration and housing, aging populations in rural areas, it's all there.
Wow.
Your interests can totally guide you. Fascinated by cities, urban demography, environmental demography, it's huge.
So there's a niche for everyone. That's exciting.
Totally. You become the expert in your area, your insights are valuable, employers want that.
Speaking of employers, what about job security in this field?
Well, think about it. In a world, obsessed with data,
Totally.
understanding people, that's key, right? RoleCatcher's point is job security is strong for demographers. Big plus.
Love to hear it, but gotta stay grounded. RoleCatcher's good about pros and decons. What else they say?
Right. No job's perfect. They mention limited advancement sometimes, especially compared to, the corporate ladder climb.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, not always, but if you're driven by promotions, got to think about that.
Not the best fit for those go-getter types, then. Always moving, changing it up.
Maybe not. And the work's interesting, don't get me wrong, but RoleCatcher mentions potential for monotony, I guess, if you need variety every day.
I see.
Data sets, models, that's a chunk of the job.
Right. So not all big discoveries and presenting at conferences.
Some of that, but yeah, got to be realistic. They're very big on accuracy. Details matter. Even a small error, say in a data set.
Oh, no.
Big impact. Findings are off. Could be policies, resources, all messed up.
Talk about pressure,
Well,
but kind of amazing too, right? Your work, it's that important.
And RoleCatcher really gets that across.
They do. Okay,
Yeah.
so someone's listening thinking, I'm in. What's next? Landing the job. How do you do it?
RoleCatcher, again, super practical. Interview advice, it's gold. They give real questions. Like, how would you forecast population growth, but with limited data? Stuff like that.
Ooh, good to practice. Like having the answers ahead of time. What else is key, they say?
Communication.
Yeah.
You got to explain those numbers, right? Not everyone's a demographer.
Right, got to make it make sense.
Like, say you're looking at migration, how it affects schools in a city. You present that to city planners, educators, parents.
Yeah, they need to know.
They're not demographers, but they make decisions, so got to be clear.
So you're translating the data, basically, making it relevant.
Exactly. And that's useful any job, really.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher also had this breakdown of career stages, entry level, all the way up to, principal demographer, leading the research.
Oh, cool. Any surprises there?
What I thought was it's a learning field.
Mm-hmm.
Always new data, new tech, the world changes.
Right.
So your methods, your understanding, it's always evolving.
You're solving a puzzle, but the pieces keep changing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, they mentioned PhDs. A lot of demographers go for that.
So for our super curious listener, that's the expert level.
Could be. Depends if you like research, it's your call. But even without it, lots of paths.
RoleCatcher's given us a lot to consider. Anything else before we wrap up our deep dive here?
Thinking about it all, they said demographers need to talk about data to, everyone. Made me realize that's important for everyone now, not just them.
Totally. Information overload these days.
Right. Being able to understand it all, explain it clearly, that's huge.
It's a superpower.
For real. Explaining a project at work, presenting to your boss, even just The news, if you can tell the story with the data.
Makes all the difference.
Yeah,
So even if demography is not their thing, listeners can still take this away, how to talk data.
exactly. Find the human part of it, make it connect, then share it.
Love it. We'll leave everyone with that thought then. How can you use data to tell your story better?
So many possibilities.